35 years ago today, Super Mario Bros. Came into our living rooms and changed the video game landscape and our lives forever. If you're an 80s kid, yes, you're getting old. Today we celebrate the icon, the OG, the game that had the biggest impact in video game history. Today we celebrate the 35th birthday of Super Mario Bros.
Girl J-Love81 and you're watching my boys gaming off the grid.
It is hard to believe it's been 35 years since Super Mario Bros. Came out. I wasn't even born when the game released. I was born in '86.
I wasn't even thought of at this point, but it's crazy. 35 years and it's still relevant today. That's crazy.
Yeah, so this video is an ode to this game, what it means to us as gamers, what we feel it probably means to a lot of you that are watching this video. Yes, there's a bunch of 35th anniversary celebratory things coming down the pipe. We're not really here to talk about that as much as we are how epic of a game and a needle mover Super Mario Bros. Was. So when you look at the whole series, this game still stacks up very favorably, I feel like, as one of the greatest Mario games of all time.
It's incredible, and it still looks and plays, and it's just still fantastic. The soundtrack, everything about this game is perfect.
I can't think of a game that's more iconic that, like, when people just hear the music, they automatically know, oh, that's from Super Mario.
That's from Mario. And it's not just hardcore gamers.
We've mentioned before in other episodes that there's very few times in video game history where that gap was bridged by a game that made everyone want to play it, even if you weren't a gamer.
Yeah.
This game was kind of the tip of the iceberg for that, I feel like, because video games were struggling at this point in time. Coming out of Atari, there was, like, you know, the big video game crash in the early 80s, I believe, and then it needed Super Mario Bros. I feel like it saved the video game industry in a way. Obviously, video games still would have probably been a thing, but it really put it back on the map as a viable option, and so many things fell in line afterwards. So many characters. Would there have been a Sonic without a Mario?
Oh, yeah.
Would there have been a Crash Bandicoot without a Mario? You wonder how the video game landscape would have played out had this game not came onto the scene.
And it's such a unifier. I know, like, the NES is a unifier, but, like, Mario brought families together. It brought everyone together. Friends came over. Kids that were playing outside weren't playing outside anymore. They were playing Mario inside.
And I don't know that Nintendo even knew the cultural phenomenon they had on their hands. You know, fast forward the 35 years here to 2020, and I would argue that Mario is probably as recognizable by kids as, like, Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny and some of those type of characters. I don't even know if Bugs Bunny's still popular, but he is to me. But the point is, it's a household name. There's been a litany of games, spin-off games. You got your Mario Karts. You have all these things. Think about what wouldn't have occurred had this game not came out. There's so many things that fell in line afterwards.
No Mario Sports, no Smash Bros, no Mario Parties.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your mind around how important this game was. And with the impact that it had, it's hard to not consider this game maybe the greatest video game ever made. And it's tough because there are so many great Mario games, you know, Mario 3, Super Mario World, but none of them had the impact that this guy did.
It's crazy going back and watching, like, news footage of back in the day, because people didn't even know what Nintendo was. They didn't know what Mario was.
Who are the Mario brothers?
I don't know. The hockey players?
All I can think of is the guy in the library, Mario Puzi.
And now you say Nintendo, now you say Mario, and people are like, oh, and they can picture a memory or picture something with it. Like, that's crazy. 35 years, everyone knows what that is. Like,
it was a time that parents weren't ready for it. I don't think pop culture knew quite how to handle Nintendo. Kids were obsessed, and I think those of you who grew up in that time frame, first off, it's hard to believe 35 years has went by since his game came out, but that time frame pre-internet, where, you know, internet wasn't in every household, where you had to talk about video games on the playgrounds or get Nintendo Power, call the Nintendo hotline.
Ooh, yes.
It was so cool and such a great time to be a part of. I feel so blessed that I grew up during that era. Now, we've got this YouTube channel, right? Think about the impact this game had on us, because you were born in 94.
Yep.
I was born in 86, but the first game we both remember playing is Super Mario Bros.
Which is crazy. So it would have been like 10 years old when I played this. Actually, more than 10 years old, because I would not have played it when I was 1.
Yeah.
But, so it would have been like 10 to 15 years old when I played it for the first time. My mom had an NES and a couple NES games in a cupboard. And at a certain age, I pulled it out and I was like, what is this? remember hooking it up with a coaxial cable in the back, putting Mario in, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, it was so cool. If you did 2-player, you could play as Luigi, and then you can play twice, because I didn't have another friend. So I would just play 2-player by myself, and dude, it was such a cool game. I was terrible at it. I still kind of am. I beat it though, so that's pretty
My
cool.
earliest memories is being about 3.5 or 4 years old, and my parents had already had a Nintendo. And the games that I remember them having specifically at that time was Super Mario Brothers, which had Duck Hunt with it, which is a little kid shooting at the screen.
Oh, yeah,
that was awesome. But my mom was way into Zelda and my dad was way into Punch-Out. And I remember those games being like almost too hard for me. Like I couldn't quite figure out what I needed to do. But when I played Super Mario Brothers, I was just obsessed. I've been obsessed ever since. It's still a game. At least once every month or two, I put a speed run in on it. And just to keep my chops up. I absolutely adore the game and what it's done for my life. There were some choppy times in my childhood. There were some good times too, but I always had Nintendo and I always had Mario, you know, to like, man, I'm having a bad day. Or I don't want to hear this fight that's going on upstairs or whatever it was.
Play Mario.
Mario was always there for me. And for my life, I think for our lives, for the channel, it has way more of an impact than just being a video game. This game was kind of a way of life for a while.
Yeah, it started everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's definitely on that upper echelon of list of greatest video games ever made. If not for the game's sake, for the cultural and video game impact that this game had, you can't argue it. It has to be in the discussion. It just does. I can't think of another game that has moved the needle this much. Man, happy 35 years. Holy cow.
That's insane.
Can you guys
dude.
even believe that? Does that even seem real to anybody? 35 years ago this game came out.
It doesn't make sense because it doesn't, when you put it in, it doesn't seem old. It doesn't seem like a retro game. And you know what's crazy is, like, we're friends with a bunch of people that have kids. And some of their first games they've ever played has been this, like Megadance Kid.
Yep.
He plays Mario all the time, and
Yep.
he's a new kid.
Yeah.
35 years later playing Mario as your first, that's awesome.
And they've done such a great job, I feel like, of keeping this game relevant, you know,
Yep.
even with injecting it into the latest adventure in Mario
Oh,
Odyssey.
Yeah, you go back to the retro
Yeah,
level.
you've got those 8-bit levels, and I feel like they've just done such a great job of branding and keeping it relevant, and also evolving the series, but always giving that ode back to the first adventure that started everything. This episode's really just kind of a discussion and a passion project because we absolutely love Super Mario Brothers.
And just Nintendo in general. Like, you know what's crazy is Mario's 35, but so is Luigi. And we're not giving Luigi any credit. He's the brother, dude. He's been there the entire time.
Yeah, you know what was unique in this game was that they looked the exact same, with the exception of the color palette. It wasn't until Mario 2 where they looked different.
They look different.
And you
He's
could start
taller.
differentiating between the two. But then you go into Mario 3 and they look the same again. One's red, one's green. But nonetheless,
Well, they're twins in some games, okay?
yeah, Super Mario Brothers. And you know, there's some old commercials from back then that say Mario.
Mario Brothers with Mario from Donkey Kong, his brother Luigi, and lots of crazy creatures.
In the comment section
Mario.
below, do you call him Mario? That's what I think we both
It's
call him.
Mario, guys.
Or do you call him Mario?
If you call it that, unsubscribe.
I feel like somebody does. I think maybe back in the day, Gamer calls him Mario.
Okay. I don't know what I did to deserve that, but
I can't remember. Somebody in the retro community.
He's doing it as a pun.
I don't know, but maybe he was watching those commercials in the early to mid '80s, and so it messed him up for life.
Mario.
So this beer is a gift to us from our good friend Nintendong. He sent this to us from the West Coast.
Yes, Oregon.
This is 10 Barrel Brewing Company's Fancy Schmancy. Try saying that one 10 times fast.
Yes.
It is an orange Baltic porter.
Yes, we thought we should have something kind of fancy to celebrate Mario and Luigi's 35th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
It's a really good porter. It's, you know, porters, I always feel like on the spectrum, they're like right before you get to stouts.
Yep.
And it's a little smoother than a barrel-aged stout. 9.8%, I think, is what it came in at for ABV. Doesn't seem too harsh. You know, it's not like, you know, I'm not super wowed, but it's a very enjoyable brew. And I'm getting a little bit of that orange zest, the
Orange
cascades
zest.
on the finish.
I do wish there was some more orange. Every time I have a porter, though, I always want it to be more because I like stouts so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this doesn't... I'm kind of disappointed, just not because it's a bad beer, but because I expect it to be a stout. It's a weird thing in my head.
Yeah.
But this is still really good, really enjoyable, really smooth.
Yep.
I feel like it needs more orange.
Yeah, it does. It's just a kind of a nice little zest on the finish that I did. All right, guys, 35 years. In the comment section below, let us know some of your memories. What has Super Mario Brothers meant to you? Do you still play it today? And do you think it's the best video game of all time because of its cultural impact? I think it's got to, at the very least, be in the discussion. 35 years.
Wow. Cheers to that.
80s and 90s kids that are watching, we are getting old. I can't believe it. But anyways, happy birthday, Mario and Luigi. We appreciate everything you've done and continue to do for video gaming. We love you, man. We'll see you guys next time, right here on Gaming Off the Grid. Can you think, is the dick in the pic?
Dick.
Yeah, the mic. Pretty good.
Not too bad.
You gotta get your fucking self in the pic there, boy. Boy. That's what I call him for short, boy. Tear down the deli meat door. Hulk Hoagie.
So stupid.
Make me a foot-long sub. Hulk Hoagie. 1985.
That's crazy, dude. What a great year. I remember it like it was yesterday.
He does.